guys, welcome to the Homestead. So as you can see behind me, I've got all of my holes burned into my ground fabric, ground cover, ground cloth. There's lots of names for this stuff. I am following the tradition of Living Traditions Homestead. They put out a video a number of years ago, a couple years back, on this stuff, and they said they really appreciate it, they really like it. I'm still doing the Back to Eden garden method, the lasagna layering. Everything underneath here is layered compost, layered mulch, layered wood chips, layered wheat straw, rabbit manures. It's all layered under here. So I'm continuing to do that. I'm not tilling my soil, but I am putting this ground cloth on here. I want to see how this works. And I've heard lots of good reports. So we're going to go with that and see how it works this year. It took me a little bit of practice to get used to this torch, this little garden torch here. You can find different varieties like this online or at your local hardware store. And but it took me a little practice. My first few holes were a disaster. They were like gigantic, and I finally figured out how to use this template. When you're using a template like this, and I highly recommend, it's still a little bit hot, using a template like this, I highly recommend that you step on it to remove any air from the ground cloth underneath of this board, because if there's any air, it can make the hole wider underneath than what you intended it to be right here. So I saw a number of videos online where people were using templates, and I definitely wanted to do that. I saw the validity in that. I saw a lot of people who layered down multiple layers of the ground cloth and did a template over the top of it once, so it did like 3 layers at a time. You can do that. I didn't do that. I just did them where I wanted them to be once I laid everything out, because once I laid everything out, I could then get a better idea of how I wanted my vegetables to grow, in what order. And what I'm going to do after the season is over is I'm going to go down the line and I'm going to number each one of these rows of ground cloth, and I'm going to put a little symbol there in like a white magic marker, and it's going to show exactly what grew in this row. And that way I can put it back exactly the way I want it each and every year until this ground cloth wears out. I hope that makes sense. So you can number your rows, put them in numbered order again the next year, because you want to take this off during the winter time and put your manures down, put your compost, put your mulch or whatever, your compost, all that down, and then in the spring put it back and then plant. So I want to put it back in the exact order that I had it, so I don't have to like re-burn holes or guess, because I have things in the way I want them, or maybe I could switch them up based on not growing tomatoes in the same place every year or something like that. But at least I know what grew in that row, because I'm being organized and I'm marking that row with a marker or a piece of spray paint or something like that. So highly recommend using a template. I've learned that is the best way to go. And these torches do take a little bit of getting used to doing it, so you can do it right and have some good success with it. But after I got the hang of it, with the template and with this torch, it seems to be working pretty good. So what are we going to do this year? We got tomatoes, we got garlic, we got onions, we've got cabbages, we've got lettuce, we've got squash, we've got cucumbers, green beans, peppers, all kinds of stuff, okra, already growing inside. And today I'm going to be getting these things in the ground now that I've got all my holes done. We just had a giant rainstorm the last 2 days, and the ground is awesome and soaked and ready for digging. I can dig in it real easy. So I'm going to dig in the ground, put these plants in, and we'll see how things turn out this year. Every year, gardening is an adventure. So I think we've got everything out right now except for tomatoes, peppers, and I usually plant those absolutely last. And the reason for that is because the first year we were living here in the Ozarks, we had a late May 1st 3-inch snow. 3 inches of snow, May 1st. Everything died. All of my plants died. All of my tilapia died. I was doing aquaponics at the time. Everything was dead. And so I've learned my lesson. And just less than 10 days ago, we had temperatures dip down to like 26 degrees. And so there are a lot of people I'm hearing in the area who lost a lot of plants because they went ahead, planted stuff in the ground early. They had their tomato plants up yay high, And all of a sudden comes 26-degree weather, and they're trying to cover their stuff and out there, you know, trying to cover their trees and everything. And some stuff makes it and a lot of stuff doesn't. So it just is the way it is out here. You listen, the good thing about living in the Ozarks, you're technically in the South and you have a pretty long growing season. So it's okay to start late. You don't have to start so early unless you're like growing stuff for like a farmer's market where you're trying to sell plants and get things in early and you have greenhouses. You know, people a long time ago didn't plant until about May 1st. You know, that's about the normal planting time. If they were going to be very safe, because they didn't have the Weather Channel, they didn't have, you know, the Farmer's Almanac, you know, maybe they did, the older versions of it. But you know what I mean? They didn't have, you know, a phone where they could look up the weather, you know, 2 weeks out. They didn't know what systems were coming down from the north. And so they planted late, and it was okay to do that because they had a long growing season. So you have a long growing season. If you live in my area, take advantage of it. The sun is out. It's going to start drying out some of this ground. We had about 5 inches of rain, I think, in the last 2 days. So the ground is saturated, but it'll start drying this out. Now, one of the things you have to worry about is fungus. And one of the ways I combat fungus is by using the Dr. Bronner Sal Suds mixed with some neem oil. And that usually knocks out any fungus issues. So in a couple days, I'll come through here and I'll spray some Dr. Bronner Sal Suds and some neem oil on all of my plants just in case any fungus tries to take root and damages some of my plants. And I'll probably use that throughout the season to keep insects at bay as well because it works great with insects. So we'll do a video on that. In fact, I have a video on the neem oil. I'll put that at the end of the video. You can click on that. It's about neem oil, guaranteed proof that shows that neem oil does in fact work. And it works great with fungus also. All right, we're gonna end it there. We'll leave it at that. Be sure to hit that like button before you leave because that tells YouTube that people actually watch and enjoy our channel. That's very important. We have t-shirts for sale down at the Teespring links below. Check those out if you're interested. And be sure to subscribe if you haven't done so already. And we'll see you next time on An American Homestead. Hey guys, I'm happy to introduce an American Homestead sponsor, Zervita Zeal. Now, first off, I only accept sponsors from products that I use and believe in. My family uses Zeal mainly because we want to ensure a healthy immune system. You see, it's made up of only whole food concentrates and includes no artificial colors, flavors, or preservatives. The included sweetener is all natural from fruit and the stevia leaf. It's gluten-free, it's vegan, and it's kosher. In 2018, my youngest son was involved in a bike accident that resulted in the surgical removal of his spleen, and that's an important part of his immune system. And because we live on a farm, you can guess that having a healthy immune system for our family is very important. Some of the included ingredients are beetroot, chicory root, turmeric, moringa, blueberries, cranberry, goji berry, milk thistle, ginseng, alfalfa, broccoli, and so much more. It's these natural ingredients that can easily be made into a powerful and tasty drink that my family can make and feel good about. So sign up and give it a try today. Every purchase you make goes to help the homestead so that we can continue to make great homesteading videos for you. Link is in the description below. Go ahead, give it a try. Hey guys, did you know you can become a patron of An American Homestead? They get access to private videos, and we send them gifts from the homestead that we make here on the homestead. And we also enter our patrons into special giveaways that are only available to them. And before you go, please check out these other great videos. Go ahead, click. I'll wait.